Our tale begins in the ancient land of Padan Aram, where two sons of Jacob and Leah, named Levi and the other Judah, would be born. They praised God knowing these children would be destined for a remarkable future. Many years later, in Jacob's old age, he begat his 12th son with his wife Rachel and named him Benjamin. These three sons would later become Israel's southern kingdom, known in the Bible as the House of Judah. Jacob saw in Judah the qualities of a lion, a fierce and noble creature, destined to lead his brethren. With a father's blessing of the crown and scepter symbolizing kingship, Judah would rise to prominence, guiding his people with wisdom and strength. Levi was hallowed by God to be a special people to him, giving them the responsibility of the priesthood. The Levitical priests officiated at the temple in Jerusalem and taught the law to the people. Their dedication to preserving the nation's religious identity and moral integrity earned them widespread respect and authority among the Israelites. Levi's descendants, together with the sons of Judah, would save every race of men. Jacob saw in Benjamin, the youngest of the brethren, the qualities of a ravening wolf. With loyalty, guardianship, and wildness, they made a perfect addition to the southern kingdom, providing some of the most skilled and fierce warriors the nation of Israel had to offer. The combination of these tribes made for a balanced and complete kingdom, with Judah as kings, Levi as the priests, and Benjamin as warriors. As the sons of Jacob faced challenges and adversaries, Judah emerged as a stalwart leader, leading his brothers with courage and conviction. His prowess in battle and his unwavering resolve earned him the title of the Lion of Israel. King Saul, from the tribe of Benjamin, would be the first leader of the kingdom of Israel, with King David from the tribe of Judah as his successor. Judah would hold the throne in the southern kingdom from this time forward. By prophecy of Moses in Deuteronomy 33, within Judah would be the power to not only build some of the greatest empires the world has ever seen, but also would be endowed with the same power to destroy them. This would make Judah the most coveted and volatile commodity on the entire earth for generations. With the Messiah springing from the tribe of Judah, it is through this tribe that Israel and the rest of the world would be saved. Through the ages, the descendants of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi continued to embody the spirit of their forefathers, rising to positions of power and authority in their own kingdom and the countries they would go on to serve. From kings and rulers to trendsetters, innovators, athletes, and musicians, they left an indelible mark on the tapestry of human history. However, it was also prophesied that the southern kingdom would go aside from serving the God of Israel, Ahijah, and be taken into captivity as a result. This would cause them to forget their name, wealth, and heritage while scattered amongst the Gentile nations. In 70 AD, the Roman army laid siege to Jerusalem, destroying the temple and killing the vast majority of the population before selling the rest into slavery around the Middle East. Those who took heed to the warning of Christ fled Jerusalem before Vespasian and Titus brought destruction to the once great city. Forced to flee their homeland, they embarked on a journey that would scatter them across distant lands. Fleeing from Roman persecution and seeking refuge from the horrors of war, many Jews found solace in the vast lands of Africa. Their journey, fraught with danger and uncertainty, would lead them to new shores and new beginnings. The southern kingdom of Israel, biblically being identified as people of color, is not a recent discovery. However, it is a fact that has remained in the shadows amongst the common and remains one of the biggest kept secrets in the world. Eliezer ben Hyrcanus was one of the most prominent Jewish sages of the 1st and 2nd centuries in Judea. Chapters of Rabbi Eliezer is an Aggadic midrash work on the Torah, containing critical explanations and retellings of biblical stories. The ancient Jewish understanding of the scriptures was that the descendants of Shem were dark, no different than the descendants of Ham, in the land of Timbuktu. Mungo Park, a Scottish explorer of West Africa, recorded that there were Jews in the city of Timbuktu. But these Jews, they prayed Muslim prayers but had Hebrew records and stories that went back generations. Later on, pages 192, 193, he identified these Jews as the Mandingos, or the Mandinka, tribe in Mali. The term Mandingo is a mispronunciation of Mandinka and was often used to refer to black male slaves in North America because of the physique of these men in Mali, Guinea, Ivory Coast, Senegal, Gambia, and Guinea-Bissau. An account of Timbuktu and Houssa, territory in the interior of Africa. This place is reported to be inhabited by one of the lost tribes of Israel, possibly an emigration from the tribe of Judah. Yahuda in African Arabic signifies Judah. Yahudi signifies Jew. Many of the lost tribes of Israel may be found dispersed in the interior regions of Africa. Many other historians, such as Captain Alan F. Gardner, Henry Francis Flynn, John Colenso, and Tudor Parfit, share this opinion as well in regards to the Negroes of sub-Saharan Africa, their roots in Egypt, passing through the parted sea to enter into the land of Canaan. Many have long speculated about the fate of the Jews that fled the Romans after 70 AD. Could it be that some found refuge in the heart of Africa, their presence hidden among the tribes of the vast continent? Forced to flee their homeland, they embarked on a journey that would scatter them across distant lands, across the vast expanse of Africa. The descendants of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi established communities. Their presence felt from the shores of Senegal to the forests of Guinea, from the plains of Liberia to the jungles of Congo. Here, they forged new lives, their heritage a beacon of hope in a land of uncertainty. From the halls of power in the United States to the courts of Morocco, from the streets of London to the tropics of Haiti and Jamaica, the Southern Kingdom tribes shaped the destiny of nations. Their influence felt far and wide. As architects of empires, they left an indelible mark on the pages of history. While enslaved by the Arabs, they were used to create a special task force known as the Black Guard. This task force would uphold one of the most powerful Arabian dynasties of all time. When it comes to conquering, building, and sustaining empires, there are no comparable people to the black men from Judah, who even assisted in the conquering of the New World under the title of the Black Conquistadors, before they would later return to build the countries for a time, as they had done in countless times before, from Egypt to Persia. Meanwhile, the descendants of Benjamin built their legacy under the names of the Coromantee and Ashanti of Ghana, the Igbo of Nigeria, the Maasai of Kenya, the Zulu, and the Shona of Zimbabwe. In Hebrewisms of West Africa, From Nile to Niger with the Jews, by Joseph J. Williams, the author describes the distinctive traits of the Coromantee, or Gold Coast Negroes, highlighting their physical and mental characteristics. These individuals are noted for their remarkable firmness of body and mind, coupled with a ferocious disposition tempered by courage and activity, despite their perceived stubbornness, which echoes an ancient Roman notion of soul elevation. They exhibit a readiness for labor and a constitution well suited for it, likely shaped by their experiences as slaves in Africa. This description paints a portrait of resilience and adaptability among the Coromantine people. The description of the Coromantee that was brought into Jamaica and Suriname, described by historian Brian Edwards, was exactly the description we witness with the tribe of Benjamin throughout the Bible, particularly the last days prophecy in Genesis 49. Their fierce and rebellious nature became so notorious among European slave traders in the 18th century that an act was proposed to ban the importation of Akan people from the Gold Coast, despite their reputation as strong workers. They were very peaceful and hardworking, but vehemently defended their independence and freedom with their lives. They not only fought off the British, but also the Dutch and Portuguese. The Levites, during their time in Africa, after the Southern Kingdom's exile, were not as active in building empires or setting up kingdoms. Instead, they did what they've always done, and remnant priests known as the Yoruba in Nigeria, Benin and Togo, dispersed among the tribes of Judah and Benjamin, north and south of their primary lands. According to the university white paper on the origins of voodoo, a large part of voodoo is based on the African religions from the areas of Nigeria, Benin, and Togo. These are the areas in which the Yoruba people lived. The aspects of the Yoruba religion include prayer, animal sacrifice, and a belief that life and death are intertwined. In the 16th to 18th centuries, French and Spanish slave traders arrived in Western Africa. They raided the land and forced the native peoples into slavery. Many of these slaves were brought to Haiti and forced to work the land. They were treated very harshly, so that they would fear their master and not attempt to escape for fear of even worse treatment. The trading of Negros in slave markets began with the Arabs and Berbers directly north of the Judean lands of Mali and Senegal. An example of this is the sub-Saharan slave trade through North Africa to the Arab and Muslim worlds. This slave trade saw Judah, Benjamin, and Levi enslaved by the millions sent as far as Arabia. According to Duncan Clark, a Zimbabwean-born European, slavery for the Negroes of West Africa goes much farther back than the Americas. Clark goes on to show the great number of African slaves who were sent to the Arab regions during the infamous triangular trade. Thus, in terms of numbers, Arabia's 9.85 million is not far behind the conservative estimate of nearly 12 million African victims of the Atlantic slave trade. Some African historians, though, reject these figures because they are too low. They suggest over 50 million Africans were shipped out during the Atlantic trade alone. While the Arab slave trade, one of the most brutal and longest-lasting major slave trades ever, it was far from the last time Africans would be sold or captured and taken to an unfamiliar land. The transatlantic slave trade ravaged the shores of West Africa, tearing families apart and uprooting entire communities. Millions were forcibly taken from their homeland and sold into bondage with the approval of the Pope. Among those sold into slavery were the descendants of Judah, their journey marked by suffering and despair. The majority found themselves in Brazil and plantations throughout Central and South America, with a large minority going into the United States and the British West Indies, where they toiled under the harsh sun, their spirits unbroken despite the cruelty of their masters. The descendants of Benjamin found themselves on slave ships to the Spanish-owned islands in the Caribbean, all over Europe and Canada. The Levite priests found themselves in the French colonies in the Caribbean, namely Haiti on the island of Hispaniola. This slavery continued long after the chains were removed from the Negro slaves, as they endured political, social, and economic suppression that would keep them as the lowest class of people throughout the areas in which they are scattered. Like seeds scattered by the wind, the southern kingdom of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi were journeyed across the globe. The tribe of Judah, from Mali to Senegal, Sierra Leone, Gabon, Cameroon, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Angola, to the cities of the United States. The tribe of Benjamin, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Congo, Namibia, and all of South and East Africa, with lesser numbers in Liberia, Nigeria, Chad, Ethiopia, and Somalia, the West Indian islands of Jamaica and Cuba, the tribe of Levi, Togo, Benin, Yoruba, and Nigeria, Cameroon, and nearly all the isles of the Caribbean, specifically in Haiti. The three tribes would find themselves mingled in the islands of the Bahamas, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, St. Lucia, etc. Throughout the Middle East, Europe, and the Central and South American countries of Brazil, Panama, Colombia, Costa Rica, Honduras, and Mexico. They carried with them the dimmed flame of Israelite heritage. Yet, amidst the echoes of their past, the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi faced trials and tribulations. Their journey marked by the curses of Deuteronomy 28. Cast out from their homeland, they longed for the day when they would reclaim their rightful place as royalty in Israel. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi embark on a quest to trace their roots and reclaim their heritage. From dusty archives to forgotten tombs, they sought to uncover the truth of their ancestry. A new era is coming as the 12 tribes awaken to their divine calling. Through the study of Scripture and the guidance of their faith, they embrace their role in fulfilling ancient prophecies, their hearts ablaze with the promise of redemption. The fighting spirit that has existed amongst them from their great forefathers fuel the kings of Judah to awaken the priests of Levi, the warriors of Benjamin, and the rest of the tribes of Israel, and lead them back to their God, Ahia. It is not through faith and perseverance only that the southern kingdom is reclaiming its blessings and embracing a brighter future. It is mainly by returning to the laws of their God, written in the Torah, and by leading their brethren of the tribes of Israel to do the same. Without this, Israel will remain in the ghettos and be the lowest of all the people on earth. This nation, a fierce countenance, would come against the children of Israel, destroying their cities, taking their land, and placing them into captivity. Why? The Israelites in exile lost their identity and forgot their home, and those who found them knowing they were the lost sheep took advantage of their talent and ingenuity by placing them in slavery, one after the other. All these nations committed atrocities, knowing that it was the children of Israel and Judah's transgression of the laws of God that they were given the proverbial green light to afflict them, that they were simply executing judgment on behalf of the God of Israel. Is this true? When Israel made a covenant with their God, they were told that if they failed to hold up their end of the agreement, then all the curses that Moses would write throughout this chapter, including a nation of fierce countenance and strange tongue coming from far, would fall upon them and overtake them. So how do Israel and Judah change their curse back to a blessing? The tribe of Judah must turn back to their God and keep his laws for their curses, to be lifted and be freed from their mental and spiritual captivity, to return to glory under the Messiah, the Anointed. As the shadows of the past fade into memory, the descendants of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi begin stepping into a new era of prosperity and abundance. Under the benevolent rule of Christ, from the tribe of Judah, the restored kingdom of Israel will flourish, ushering in an era of peace, prosperity, and unity. From the fertile fields to the booming economy, the land teemed with life and abundance. Like any nation, a kingdom needs its king. The kings had been a lion crouching for far too long, and it is high time for them to wake out of sleep and unite the brethren, the warriors and the priests, under Christ and their God, to lead the people in ushering in an era of righteousness.